Look at her, Richard. Look at how magnificent she is. The most deadly hunter ever created. The most deadly dinosaur ever created. And I did it because I'm a mad scientist.
You're mad. You are mad. How can you play God by creating a dinosaur? However, did you do this?
Oh, I just let her listen to this Pod Bros exclusive.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Pecos Shawn.
You pay what?
Pecos Shawn. You know, like Pecos Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was he called Pecos? Anyway, we're speaking the language of bromance. You threw me off. Why was he Pecos? Why was he Pecos Bill?
I don't know. I just remember him.
Is Pecos like a place he was from?
Well, I think isn't it like Pecos, Texas? Isn't there a Pecos, Texas?
So if he lived somewhere else, then he would be...
Yeah, if he was like in Salt Lake City, he'd be Salt Lake City Bill. Or if he was in Chicago, he'd be Chicago Bill. If he was a vampire, he'd be Vampire Bill.
No, what if he was from Buffalo?
No, it was already taken. Copyright.
Oh. So we're speaking the language of bromance. Shawn, I'm getting the sense you would like to go to the Wild West.
Oh, yes, sir. I've always, when I was young, did you ever play Cowboys when you were a kid?
No.
Like, did you ever? You didn't?
I was never big. There was one cowboy movie I watched. I actually had this conversation yesterday.
Who? With who?
2 cowboy movies I liked.
It wasn't with me. Who'd you have this conversation with?
My daughter.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it.
There were 2 cowboy movies I liked. One I was forced to watch. Not really forced, but one I had to watch because I had this VHS cassette and there were 3 movies on this cassette. And the first movie was Flash Gordon. And the second movie was Silverado. That's the Western one. And the third movie was Big Trouble in Little China. So I watched Flash Gordon, and then I'm like, okay, I guess rather than have to fast forward through this movie, I guess I'll watch Silverado so I can watch Big Trouble in Little China, because that's on right after it on this tape.
You treated this tape like it was an 8-track tape where you had to listen to the whole thing? Pretty
much. Just because I was too lazy to get up and press fast forward on the VCR.
Man, how long were you sitting for? That's like 3 solid hours of movie going.
I was an indoor kid. The other one, Tombstone. Because, I mean...
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Oh, God, that movie's so good.
I've never seen it all.
You've never seen the entirety of Tombstone?
Nope.
Oh, I feel like I should pull a man card.
Well, there's like a stretch of movies in the 90s I didn't see. So, like, back in the day, Richard, I really wanted to be a cowboy. Because we all know I love Garth Brooks, right? Like, back in the heyday of the mid-90s, it was Garth Brooks City.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's like, oh, cowboy hat, country singer. Oh, it's cowboy hat. You're a cowboy.
Right.
I was a huge... Have you ever seen the Young Guns movies with Emilio Estevez?
Yes, I have seen the Young Gun movies.
Yeah, where he's Billy the Kid.
I was only there for Bon Jovi.
Wanted, baby.
Wanted, dead or alive.
That's terrible. Hate that song. Anyway.
Call me Young Gun.
But it was those 2 movies really, I always just really had this fascination with cowboys and like thieves, like Jesse James, and then not the biker, the actual train robber Jesse James.
Like the song? Just like Jesse James.
Yeah, I mean there's so many good country songs about being cowboys.
Yeah.
So Richard, I heard a story about a cowboy that was if I was reincarnated, this was probably the person I was back in these cowboy times.
Okay.
And you will quickly find out. He had a great nickname. He was dubbed the Bandit who wouldn't give up.
You know what? As far as nicknames go, it's not a bad one.
It's not terrible. I mean, like Billy the Kid's, I think's better.
Yeah. Oh, well, Billy the Kid's just like, that's like cool and edgy. But I mean, at least he wasn't, the bandit that fucked up and went to jail sometimes.
Well, I think that's probably what we're going to end up calling him.
Oh.
So we're going to talk about a man by the name of Elmer J McCurdy.
So the name was a bit of a misnomer.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Let's start a little bit of a background. Let's get to know Mr. McCurdy. So he was born in Maine, which when you think of cowboys, you don't think of Maine, right?
No. Because that's why it's called the Wild West, not the Wild Northeast.
But he was a New Year's baby, so he was born on January 1st of 1880.
The Northeast was full of those fancy boys that like to, I don't know, play croquet and wear pompadour dresses.
And wigs.
No, they did that in England. We were
Oh.
done with the wigs.
There's that whole argument about that between us and the British.
Right. I actually heard that just recently they passed in England, they passed some sort of law saying that that people in the court don't have to wear the wigs if they don't want to, because they still do.
Yeah, I think they still did.
Yeah.
So they're gonna start phasing them out. It's like everybody's laughing at us.
Look, I understand we're British, but this is a bit much.
He was born to Sadie McCurdy, who was unmarried at the time. So he's a bastard, Richard. Already he's starting out. Like it's like he's a New Year's Eve baby, or a New Year's Day baby, I'm sorry. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh.
You know, brand new year, ringing it in with a baby.
Yeah, it's all fine until like the doctor pulls him out and he's like, "Here's your bastard."
Yeah. And
Like that already starts you off on a bad foot.
well, and they didn't know who the dad was too. One of the possibilities, one of the theories going around was that was Sadie's, Mr. McCurdy's mom, was her cousin. So she had a kissing cousin who might have knocked her up.
See, again, like you wouldn't expect this in the Northeast at all.
No.
Like first I thought we were going to the Wild West. Now I thought we were going to the Deep South. But no, you're telling me we're in the Northeast. Actually, since it's the Northeast, the doctor probably pulled the baby out and it's like, "Here's your bastard. Here's your bastard. Now get in the car and let's hope the Sox have a good year."
Go and get your baby and your chowder.
Yeah. Get yourself a big bowl of chowder and hope you and your bastard have some nice fun.
Applesauce, bitch. So, her family, Sadie's brother, wanted to save her from this embarrassment, right? Because this is back in the day where it's like, well, sleeping with your cousin's one thing, but having their baby unmarried is a whole other story.
Especially back then, I would think.
I don't know what I wonder what the rate of like unmarried pregnancies were back then. It probably was just as high.
I don't know. They're probably like, who do you think we are? The Wild West? I mean, having babies out of wedlock. What kind of nonsense is this?
I'm probably sure there's a lot of immaculate 8-month babies. Like, no, we're married. 8 months later, we had a baby.
Everybody was giving birth to the second coming back then. I don't know what happened. That's where the toilet seat rumor got started. That's what happened.
The outhouse toilet.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just sat down and then woke up next morning and popped a baby out.
It's a miracle.
I didn't know we could make babies that fast. My womb is amazing. Super uterus.
And I'm a virgin. Who would have guessed? So he was adopted by her brother, George, and his wife. But in 1890, so 10 years, Elmer was 10 years old when his adopted dad, George, died. So he's already starting out pretty rough. Like his mom basically had to give him up.
Yeah.
He's, his uncle's kind of his dad, but then he dies.
Yeah.
And so eventually, like, he basically, like, all this stuff is coming out about, well, George isn't your dad, it's your Uncle George. I'm your mom. It's like, but I thought you were my aunt. Well, I'm your mom.
Kind of, sort of, but not really. I don't know. Eat your food that we're not going to give you because you're a bastard child.
I could ruin my reputation.
I mean, seriously.
I want to get married someday.
I mean, come on. What are you talking? I mean, nonsense.
So I mean, he just kind of goes in and out. The big thing that happened for him. So in 1907, so jumping ahead, like he bounced around from his mom to his grandparents, and so finally he joined the army. Right, like any kid, like he's lost in his ways. It's 1907. Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna join the army.
He did. Yeah, he did what every young aspiring ne'er-do-well does. They're like, I want to get some structure in my life. That's probably what he's thinking. Actually, no, what he's probably thinking is, hey, if I join the army, they'll actually feed me 3 meals a day, and I don't, starve to death.
And they won't call me a bastard.
Yeah.
First day at boot camp. Hey, bastard. Name's McCurdy, sir.
We looked at your entry papers. For mother, you put not available. You bastard kid.
Dad unknown. Might have been a relative.
Dear mom. Erase, 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 erase. Dear kind of mom. Boot camp is hard.
Especially when you don't have a mom. So like any kid, I guess he's probably about 27 at this point. He's joined the army.
Right.
What do you want to do? Like, you have all this bent up aggression. Like, you haven't had much luck. What do you want to do, Richard?
Back then, I would think that you'd want to kill Indians.
This is 1907.
I mean, I'm not I'm not trying to take it to a dark place. I'm just, kind of assuming for the time.
I think during this time we've already kind of
have we tamed the frontier?
I think so. So I mean, that's even a bad thing. Like, he's like,
right? He's sitting there. He's like, I got all this aggression. Like, let's kill some Indians. Be like, no, we did that already. Like, Wounded Knee, General Custer, Sitting Bull.
They're opening up casinos now. Like, we're okay with them.
Yeah, they're cool. Like, we're fine with them. Like, we gave them a bunch of land. Don't worry, we're gonna get it back later.
When we find out there's this oil underneath it.
But for now, I mean, we're okay. Like, we're cool. Like, well, who am I supposed to shoot then? I don't know. You could shoot your parents. Oh, wait.
But yeah, what he wants to do, Richard, is he wants to blow shit up, is basically what I'm trying to get you to say.
Yeah.
So he becomes super trained with nitroglycerin. So this unstable dude is going to be like handling this unstable chemical that blows stuff up.
Yeah. You know who he's like at this point? Or you know who I feel like he could have been, but obviously didn't turn out to be? Could have been Batman. Just saying. Like, no parents. I mean, the Northeast. Usually people that live in the Northeast, I would think, have a little bit of money. The Northeast is a very well-established area, so I would think that the people that live there, have some decent housing. So, like, you're talking about, a set, let's say, middle to upper middle class for the time lifestyle. This kid could have been Batman.
Yeah, the opportunity.
He's got all this pent up rage.
Well, that's the thing, is it's that ordinary and extraordinary, Richard. It's just that little bit of extra.
Just that extra. That's the difference between Batman and what I'm sure is about to be a comedy of errors that's going to follow.
But that's the thing. So, like, you think he would follow the path of good. He's in the army. He's a good guy, right? He's learning how to deal with explosives. But as he gets out of the military, he decides to take his training and use it for robberies.
Uh-oh. Oh, see? Now this is tragic. This is the tragic story of the Batman villain.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, could have been Batman, but instead we get Firefly. Not the show, the villain.
Yeah.
The Batman villain, Firefly.
Like a bad villain?
Yeah.
Like, not bad, like not just a horrendous villain that's just terrible at what they do.
Yeah. Because Firefly, the only thing he did was he had this suit that shot fire. He was kind of like the bad guy in the very first 10 minutes of Lethal Weapon 3, where it was just a guy in a big armored suit that shot fire. And he had I think eventually he got to fly around on a jetpack.
Nice.
So there's that.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Firefly. Who's Firefly? They're bringing Firefly back? I want to watch. No, it's
thank God.
It's the villain.
I've waited for this day. I'm guessing that McCurdy did not get a jetpack.
No. So McCurdy, they say that he got really overzealous and always failed to correctly determine the proper amount of nitroglycerin to use in his explosions. You would think he's well trained.
Right, well trained. Apparently not that well trained.
No, not at all. It's like, oh, there's a safe. I need this amount of nitroglycerin to blow it up. And it's like, boom. blows up the whole thing.
He's well trained, just, a little he's a bit of an eager beaver.
Yes, exactly.
Is what's happening here.
Little too excited to blow things up. He blows up once, he measures once, blows up twice.
Oh, if I had a nickel.
But so at this point, Richard, he decides, he's like, okay, I've got these skills. I've got a certain set of skills. I don't know who you are.
No, so you can't do that because Liam Neeson in those movies was actually like kind of cool. And right now, like I feel like this whole thing is like leading up to a Benny Hill sketch.
Well, and the bad thing is too, like this is kind of past the whole train robber situation. Like that was like the 1880s, maybe 1890s.
God, he even missed out on the train robbery fun part.
Yeah, because he's kind of like doing it after the fact.
Like this guy was just born in the wrong time. That's the sense that I'm getting here.
Yeah, he was born about 15 years too late.
Exactly. He's like, I want to kill Indians and rob trains, and they're like, no, we're done. We're done with that now. Like, what year is this?
It's 1911 at this point.
1911. Like, we're about ready to go to war. We're about ready to go to
World War I's about to kick off. Yeah, cars are invented. I think they have cars at this point.
Yeah, we got cars. Like just starting out. We got cars.
They got this big ship they're building called the Titanic. Nothing bad will happen with that. But McCurdy gets a couple guys. It's like, he's recruiting. He's like, hey, guys, want to rob a train? And they're like, what is this, 1890?
Yeah. No, Grandpa. Let's not rob a train. Let's get in our car and rob a bank like civilized people.
Like Al Capone and those real guys.
You fucking fogey.
But somehow he convinced these two guys into getting with him to rob trains. And so they're looking at the Iron Mountain, Missouri Pacific train.
See, so my guess is what happened is that he told them that he's like, no, see, it's perfect. We'll rob a train because nobody's expecting it. Yeah. Like, we'll show up and the guards will be like, are you robbing a train?
Ticket.
How old are you to rob a train? This is like 20 years ago.
Are you reading those comic books about like Jesse James and them? Like, seriously.
You listen to one too many country songs there, McCurdy. How did you know it was me? You have a handkerchief over your face. This isn't.
Where he's wearing like an actual cowboy hat. It's like, listen, those things are out of style, man. Nobody wears spurs. Did you ride up on a horse?
Oh my God. We have cars now and everybody wears bowler hats.
And you know what we use horses for now, right? Glue. That's what we use them for.
That's the way it's going to be for the next 120 years.
That's when the first person with PETA was sitting there.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't stand for this.
I'm going to make ponies cute again. And that's how My Little Pony was born.
Somehow they figure out that there's a safe on this train with about $4,000 worth of silver and gold. I think it's just silver. Wow. Just silver. It's not even gold, Richard. It's just silver.
Yeah, but I mean, $4,000 is $4,000. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but back in the day, they always wanted gold and silver. It was always the and. It was never just the silver. You wanted gold bars, and the silver was kind of the extra nice thing to have.
Silver was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, gold was like the actual meat of the cake, the flour of the cake.
You know what's funny is I think now we all want, like, these days, like, we all want platinum.
Yeah, it's true.
So now somebody's like, we're gonna go rob a gold depository. And then so Steve comes in and he's like, Shawn, Richard, I've come up with this plan. We're gonna rob a gold depository. We're like, what is this, 1911? We don't rob for gold anymore.
Well, that's the thing too. I always wonder about. It's like today, if we went out and robbed like $1 million worth of gold, how are we gonna sell that? Like, we can't go to the grocery store and be like, "Hey,
thunk,
I'd like some bread, please."
I'll take my change in ones.
Go to the strip club and go, "Oh yeah, take it off." Thunk.
Just whack her in the vagina.
Who threw the gold bar?
You broke the mirror on the floor.
I mean, we can kind of pay for it with this, but how do we deposit a gold bar?
Yeah.
This is a front, right?
Isn't it printed property of United States on here? Like, I don't think you got this, I don't think someone gave this to you as change.
Well, let me see that. Scratch, 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 scratch. But yeah, like that's the thing is like how do you get rid of that? Like I guess you can melt it down and make jewelry or something, but still, it just seems like you can't. Like it seems like it's difficult for the criminals these days to do that.
Oh, definitely. Well, actually, I would say it's probably easier for criminals these days because I mean, you can go online and buy a smelter and no one's probably going to look twice. Like I'm saying that nowadays you could go online and you could buy the tools and you could buy the equipment to melt down gold. I mean, hell, you could probably like watch a video on YouTube that's like, how to DIY your own gold melter, DIY your own smelter and melt all your gold jewelry.
Yeah, because I'm sure when somebody buys a smelter, they don't show up on any kind of list right away.
I bet they don't. There's so, like, look at every like Tom, Dick, and Mary housewife that has a fucking Etsy store where they're selling silver necklaces.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, those are all fake. Have you ever seen that's like shitty jewelry? It's basically like they buy.
Oh, hey, whoa! Let's not disparage the Etsy community, okay? I'm sure they're all avid listeners of this show.
Oh, I'm sure they are. But no, I mean, a lot of times it's like already pre-made jewelry that they buy. It's all like that. It's like the New Age Ponzi scheme or New Age. What's where like the scheme where you pile on top of each other? Pyramid scheme. Yes. It's like the New Age pyramid scheme.
So an Etsy store isn't a pyramid scheme. How is an Etsy store a pyramid scheme? I go to an Etsy store, I give them money, they give me jewelry. That is a low fucking pyramid.
Well, no, like some of them that sell like it's like this is like brand jewelry or whatever. Like it's some kind of like company that's like, oh hey, you buy this jewelry from us and you make your jewelry and then you sell it on Etsy.
Yeah, okay, like there, sure. Okay, but to say that, like, look, okay, the people that they're buying the jewelry from in this pyramid scheme, like, where are they getting the jewelry from? Where are they getting? Somebody's making jewelry. That's all I'm saying. Somebody is making jewelry somewhere, and I don't think it's all coming from, like, I don't think it's all coming from a factory in Pennsylvania where they're melting down, silver, and it looks like, a scene from Rudy.
Well, I'm thinking you have a higher standard of what you think the quality is on Etsy, thinking that's actual silver and gold. It's probably just aluminum.
I bet there's someone that is selling genuine. I bet you know what? I know for a fact that there has to be people that are selling like, their own, that are melting down their own silver. That they're buying
I'm sure
silver.
There is, yeah. Oh, look, a 10-karat gold bracelet for $10.
I could show. I know for a fact I could look on YouTube and show you a video on how to make a smelter.
No, I'm just saying, you go out, you buy a smelter on Amazon, and you look out your front door for the next week and see if there's any unmarked weird cars parked out front.
What does the FBI think you're gonna do with a smelter? A completely immovable object, not immovable, but an object that you don't want to move because A, it's super fucking heavy, and B, it's full of things that are like 400 fucking degrees.
And C, you're trying to melt illegally acquired gold and jewelry.
That's actually, so what you would do is you'd have to order the smelter online and then like wait a super long time before you robbed a bank.
Yeah, I guess that might make sense.
Because what would happen is like the FBI would be like, hey, Steve just bought a smelter off of Etsy. I didn't even know Etsy sold smelters. That's amazing. Place is a one-stop shop. That's all I'm saying.
We've been keeping an eye on him. All he's doing is hanging clothes on a smelter. He's not even using it. But I even thinking like that, but like, what do you do if you do steal that jewelry and melt it down? Like, where do you take that bar of gold that you've smelted?
Right.
I mean, you can't take it somewhere to get money.
Exactly. And okay, so the point I was making is that it'd be easier to buy that kind of stuff now, but in 1911, like, how the fuck are you gonna get a hold of a smelter?
Yeah, that's good. I don't know what you do back then.
So because you were saying like, oh, I guess you can melt it down and make jewelry. It's even harder for them because how the fuck are they going to melt it down?
Well, then, like in this specific situation, it was actually silver coins. So it'd be like actual dollar bills or something. So it was actual currency that they were stealing.
Oh,
that they thought was in there.
Okay.
So McCurdy and them, they stop the train. They find it. They stop the train successfully. They get in, and Mr. McCurdy has his nitroglycerin. He's like, listen, I'm a pro at this, right?
Oh, God.
I can do this.
Oh, God.
So they hold everybody up, and his partners are keeping everybody in line. Your typical train robbery, right?
Right.
Like you said, bandanas across the face. I'm guessing like some of it because it was probably warm. They're kind of starting to slide down, so you'd see their nose and their mouth.
Yeah.
They pull it back up.
McCurdy, is that you? Didn't you ask me what time this train was leaving? No, that wasn't. I mean, that wasn't me. I mean, it was me. It's shit.
And the bandana doesn't really hide your features very well. Like it's still pretty easy to see.
I would think so.
Especially at the bottom. Like, sometimes if they didn't tie it right, like the bottom would be too short. So like when they talk, it'd flip up in the air and you'd see like basically their whole face.
Yeah. Like, okay, so the robber comes in and be like, all right, everybody, this is a stick up. And then the engineer's like, McCurdy?
Quick, somebody take a picture.
Oh, damn it, you got me. Hold still for the birdie. Poosh.
So they get this under control. He walks back to where the safe is, Richard. And like I have a feeling like they talked earlier, he was like super overzealous and like just super excited whenever he got to blow shit up, right?
Yeah.
So he's walking back there and he's like, all right, I've got enough nitroglycerin to do this. He's like, all right, I'll do it. It's like when you're like pouring yourself a shot after you've had too much to drink.
I'm not exactly sure how nitroglycerin works. Like how, like it's, I know it's like a liquid. It's a liquid thing, but how do you just like smash it on stuff and it goes boom?
I think
like, how does it work?
I think it's pretty unstable, but I think the way that it works is like you put like it in like a tube or something. And then you'll put it where you want it to go, and you like have a fuse. So the fuse will be what makes it explode.
Oh, okay.
But
so
like,
it's basically like it's like liquid dynamite, is what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially. I think it's stable enough. Like if you throw it, it might explode. But for the most part, for like these controlled explosions, you would use like a fuse. I imagine him having like the box with the big giant like push down.
Oh, that'd be cool. Because you always see it in movies. Like in movies, they have like these crates that have these bottles full of nitroglycerin, and they're shaking around, and people are like, "Oh God, no! The nitroglycerin's shaking around." So I assume that like it bumps up against the side of the carriage, and then the carriage goes kablooey.
They're like, "All right, guys, pack it up. We're getting ready to boom." Steve, did you drop the glycerin again?
Sorry, I tripped.
Steve has no body. But like I imagine like as he's packing this stuff up, like he's getting on his horse, he's got his big explosion box and his fuse. Like he's got like 2 horses just to carry his shit.
I get to pull the plunger. That's my favorite part.
His partner's like, "Hey, can't we just use a fuse and a flint, light it, let it explode?" Like, no. Who's the pro here?
Yeah,
it's me.
I was in the army.
I'm a veteran.
Why? If you got a problem with it, why don't you talk to my mom about it? Oh, wait.
Talk to my dad. I don't know who he is. Might be my mom's cousin.
Is it you? Did you?
Dad?
Did you fuck my mom? Oh, my God.
I blow things up to hide my feelings.
I dreamed of this moment.
Glycerin.
You can push the plunger if you want.
So he's sitting there, Richard, and he's like, all right, I think I need a little bit of this. Maybe a little bit more. He's like, what the hell? I can only blow up one thing today. Let's use the whole thing.
Oh. I never want to hear somebody that's working with explosives go, what the hell? Like, that's not what you want to hear your explosives, air quote, expert say. Fuck it.
So, Richard, at this point, like, what's the worst thing you think that could happen? You've got these silver coins in the safe. You've got your explosive set up, and you're about to blow it up. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Okay, so worst case scenario is they blow up the safe, and then all the coins go everywhere, and then you're spending like 3 hours picking up coins.
Oh, that would be miserable, wouldn't it?
Right? You ever accidentally break a piggy bank?
Yeah, it would be like a piñata.
Right, because number one, break a piggy bank, number one, you got to pick up all the coins. Number two, you're picking up the coins in this minefield of broken glass. Yeah. So then you got to figure out what's broken glass and what's money. And sometimes you got to figure that out the bad way when you go, that's a quarter.
Because it's a sharp quarter.
Right. See what I did there? Took that and I flipped it, juxtaposed.
That's a joke.
I hate you.
Well, Richard, that would be miserable. But, I mean, piñatas are fun. I mean, yeah, the candy goes everywhere, but you still have the candy, right?
Yeah.
With this explosion, Richard.
And if you eat it too fast, you have like a mouthful of paper mache.
Yeah.
Mm.
But what happened here, Richard, is that the explosion caused the silver to melt and fuse to the safe and fuse to the side of the train.
Oh, my God.
So because it was such a high-heated explosion, it caused the silver to melt. So now the coins are no more. It's like this goopy, melted silver.
He's like, scrape it off.
Yeah.
I have a smelter. Scrape it off. I ordered it from Etsy.
This has got to be a complete mess, And I want to think about the conversation when he walks back to his partners.
Yeah.
It's like,
I would think that it would have, if it's that hot, I would think that the train car would have just fucking exploded.
Yeah.
And then the safe explodes, the coins go everywhere, the train car explodes, the train car goes everywhere. So then you're 3 hours in the what I'm assuming is the desert, because I'm thinking train robbery, Wild West. 3 hours in the desert with a lantern going I found one. Found one.
Well, I just imagine this. So you're the other two guys and you hear fire in the hole.
Yeah.
And it's like boom, and you feel the shake. You're like, whoa, shit! That was
loud.
That was a little bit bigger than what I thought it'd be.
Oh shit!
And you see McCurdy walk out. He's got black hair, his hair is all frizzed out. He's smoking a little bit.
Smoke. Yeah.
It's like, guys, I got good news and I got bad news.
Good news is we're in the safe.
Bad news is
I lost the safe.
So they spend this time to try and scrape up or find any coins that aren't fully melted,
which I assume would be a very difficult venture.
Well, and you gotta think, you pick up that coin and it's still a little bit warm. Whew.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Be like a Hot Pocket. You ever bitten into a Hot Pocket?
Oh no. Oh, there is no pain on this earth that matches the bitter pain of biting into a Hot Pocket.
Yeah. And then you can't taste the rest of it because it burns your tongue.
Like when Amanda was having our first kid, she's like, "This is the worst. This is terrible." And I'm like,
"You're like, here, eat this Hot Pocket."
Is it terrible, or is it like biting into a Hot Pocket terrible, or is this like Hot Pocket terrible, or is this like pizza roll terrible?
Wait, hold on a second. I'm gonna go to the little rest area. I'm gonna cook a Hot Pocket, cook a pizza roll. You're gonna eat both of those, and you tell me if it still hurts as bad.
Right.
Oh, Hot Pocket's worse. Hot Pocket's worse.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to give the edge to pizza rolls, because pizza rolls, you put the whole thing in. Like with a Hot Pocket, you can take a bite, and if it's too hot, you just kind of open your mouth and everything falls out, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, the pizza roll, though, when you bite into it.
Oh my God. Pizza roll, you bite into it and then it's just like lava in your inside your mouth. And you're like, no.
Well, what happens is it's like a McCurdy explosion. It gets all over your face. It's
right?
all melted cheese and sausage.
Yeah. And then it's just melted cheese and bits of your mouth.
Your lips and your cheeks are getting burned.
Yeah. The inside of your mouth is just a fucking cavern of horrors. One time I was a kid and, I was watching Sesame Street, and my mom made me pizza rolls. And my mom made me this big plate of pizza rolls. And so I set it down in front of me so I could watch Sesame Street on TV. And so I don't remember what song they were singing. They were singing some song, and I really liked the song. And I got up, and I was dancing. And I was dancing around. I was like, oh, yeah, I love Sesame Street. Stepped on the pizza roll, Shawn.
Ooh.
Oh, my God. I had blisters on my feet. I had stepping on the pizza rolls, blisters on my feet.
Is that how you got the fake foot?
Yes, that is why.
Wow, I always wondered that.
Yeah, that's why everybody calls me Lefty.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's because of the testicle thing. But the foot thing is still a completely true story.
Because you have no testicles? Is that why they call you Lefty?
Well, yes. Because I didn't want to be called righty.
Yeah.
Or no balls. Nobody wants to be called no balls. So I went with Lefty.
I'm sorry.
I've lied to everyone my entire life that I have at least a right testicle. I don't.
So Richard, out of all this, like they're gathering all this stuff. Now I gotta wonder, like, what they're like as they're picking these up. You know, his partners had to be like,
"What the fuck are we gonna do with this,
Mr. Nitroglycerin expert over here?"
Oh god, I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah, it's like, this is coming out of your cut, right, McCurdy?
Yeah, because we went through all this effort. You were like, "Hey, let's rob a train," and we were like, "No, that's fucking stupid." And you were like, "No, let's rob a train. It'll be awesome, I promise." And so we robbed the train, and the one thing that we're doing, robbing a train, and what happens? What happens, McCurdy? What's the one thing you want to get after you commit a robbery? What is the one thing you want to get? Go ahead, answer it. Answer the question.
Notoriety?
No, no.
Fame?
What is? No. Actually, no. That's quite the opposite. You do not want to get fame because that is how you get your picture on wanted posters and you get shot or hung. That's what happens.
I'm a terrible cowboy, aren't I?
You are the worst cowboy. If there is, I mean, didn't your parents teach you anything about being a cowboy?
I have no parents. Will you still be my huckleberries? No.
No.
Not at all. You're actually lucky we don't shoot you dead right now.
Yeah.
But it's 1911, so we can't just hide your body in the woods.
Yeah. I want to take all these melted coins and roll your face in it. That's what I want to do. I want to press these melted coins into your skin.
So you could be Elmer's silver-faced McCurdy from now on.
Yeah, these things are hot. I'm talking like pizza roll hot. Like, that's how hot these things are.
And that's how the Tostino brothers made their fame.
Little did we know the other two robbers were.
So Richard, so they thought there was $4,000 worth of silver coins. So as they try to escape after collecting as much as they can, how much do you what do you think would be an okay amount of that you would walk away with?
So the payoff in total would have been $4,000 worth of silver coins. Mm-hmm. How much would I have been happy to get away with? Considering that the safe got, considering that I had somebody that was going to blow open the safe, I'm going to go with $4,000 worth of silver coins. But let's say hypothetically that, I grab a bag and there's a hole in the bag and I lose some. I'm going to say, at least like half to 2/3. At least half to 2/3 of that $4,000. That's what should be in my pocket.
$2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
They walk away, Richard, which is still a decent amount of money. Between four people, they walk away with $450.
Oh
in silver
my God!
Coins. So essentially, about $125 or $115 a person.
Yeah, and one of those guys was probably like, I could have gone into a silver mine, and worked for 10 hours and came out with just as much fucking silver.
Well, I'm sure nitroglycerin isn't cheap, so I wonder how much of the cut had to come from that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I just imagine they're sitting around the campfire that night, and they have these coins. Some of them are full coins, some are like partial, and they're passing around the cut.
And they're just throwing them at McCurdy's face.
And, they pass around the cut, and they split it up three ways, and McCurdy's like, oh, what about me? McCurdy, yours is still on the train, you stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a nitroglycerin expert.
That's when he's like, where's my cut? And that's when everybody just pelts him with the melted silver. Here's your cut, you stupid bastard.
So
they called me a bastard.
So that doesn't go well, right, Richard?
Yeah.
Somehow, in September of 1911, so about 6 months later, he talks two other men. He's like, hey, did you ever hear about the nitroglycerin train robbery of this past year?
And they're like,
yeah, we heard it wasn't very successful.
I think I read that. I think I read about it in The Onion. They have that here? Yeah.
My mom and dad showed me. So somehow McCurdy talks two other people into helping him rob the Citizens Bank in Chautauqua, Kansas.
Yeah. These are two people that he couldn't convince to rob another train.
Yeah. Like, no, we know you suck there. Let's just do a bank. It's stationary.
It doesn't move. We can get away in a car. It'll be great. It'll be, like how regular criminals act. Oh, God, I hate you, McCurdy.
So, again, nitroglycerin expert. They spend 2 hours trying to break through this bank wall with a hammer.
Yeah, because they're probably like, so they're sitting there pounding on it with a hammer, and then McCurdy's in the back. He's like, I got some nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
They're like, no,
Yeah.
no. We know what happens with the nitroglycerin.
Wait, McCurdy, you brought the glycerin? We told you not to bring that. We told you to bring a
God.
hammer. Oh, I thought I was the glycerin guy. That's what I brought. I didn't bring a hammer. I'll just sit back here and watch, though. You guys are doing a good job hammering. I mean, if you want it to hurry up, I can blow it up. I'm good at it.
Pizza roll? Super good. I promise.
I mean,
let me tell you a story about a train. Not the train story, McCurdy.
Well, the safe is a lot smaller. This is a bank door. Like, I could do it. Trust me.
I can totally do this. I totally got this. I promise.
Well, apparently after doing all this, they decide to give McCurdy the opportunity to redeem himself, Richard.
Yeah. He's like, my time to shine.
Places that nitroglycerin charge around the door of the bank's vault. Blows the vault through the bank, destroying the interior, but not damaging the safe inside the vault. So they blow up the vault, get inside, and it's McCurdy's albatross. It's a safe. It's a little safe.
This is the part where he's having like flashbacks.
Oh,
it's like
yes.
It's like that scene in Airplane where he's like over Macho Grande. He's like, no, I don't think I'll ever get over Macho Grande. Like he's having flashbacks about it. You're too low, Striker.
Well, he's got to feel good about himself. Like he blew this door up. Screwed up the bank pretty bad, but he's like, we're inside, guys. We're about to take all this cash money.
We did it. I did it.
Walks in.
This totally redeems my entire life. If my mom and dad could see me now. Oh, shit, it's a safe!
He's like, listen, I've got extra nitroglycerin because I learned from the first time I didn't use all of it.
This is when the flop sweat kicks in. He's like, oh, God, here we go.
So he gets some glycerin around the safe, but Richard, the fuse fails to ignite.
Oh, no. Okay, now, this is a problem that I would think probably still occurs, like to this day. Like you put a fuse on something, like even like the plastic explosive in C4. Like I'm sure sometimes you put a fuse in there and you go to light it and like, shit goes wrong. Like the fuse blows out or maybe it's a bad fuse. Like who knows? Okay, so Shawn, let's say you and I are setting off explosives and then we go to set one off and we get a really big one and let's say we're blowing up tree stumps. Okay. So we get these holes and we're putting dynamite in there and then we light the fuse and we're running fuck away. We run like hell and we're sitting there and like a minute goes by, 2 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by. Like at that point, say like the 5 minute mark, 5 to 7 minutes, like, obviously, something went wrong.
Then you got to play that chicken game of going up to it.
There is, like, why? Like, who? See, this is why I don't fuck with explosives, because that's the balls. That's balls.
That's the dude that walks up, kicks the stump, and right when he kicks it, goes boom.
Yeah, exactly. Or the guy that, is walking up there, and he's like, oh, the fuse just went out. Boom, dead.
That's why, electricity and explosives. Don't mess with them.
Yeah.
But so they had a guy that was looking out. So he's kind of go back. He's like scared because like he's like, this is taking way too long. Like 2 hours to hammer. I just heard an explosion. Like people are gonna be coming.
Right.
He's calling back like, hey guys, are we about done? We about done? Like, we gotta get going. I would imagine that's how they talk.
No, it's good. It's good. Please, I'm edging my seat. Keep going, please.
But so the lookout freaks out, so he runs, right? So now these guys have lost their lookout, so they just try to grab as much money as they can. So they're in a bank, Richard. They couldn't blow up the safe. How much in coins do you think they left with?
It's a bank, so I assume there's. Oh God, you know what happened? Like they probably kept like all the cool like jewelry and gold and shit like that. They probably kept it all in the safe. In the safe, and my guess is in the vault it was like a bunch of paper money and shit. So then McCurdy blows open the fucking door and then sets all the paper money on fire. I'm sure it's some like super low amount that they walked away with.
Yeah, they walked away with $150 in coins.
Oh my God. And this is between now 3 people? Because one guy left. Like I'm saying, if you bailed, like you don't get shit.
Yeah. So McCurdy actually gets his cut this time.
Only because the other guy bailed.
This had to weigh pretty heavily on McCurdy. So he failed basically twice now in a single year.
Yeah.
So they all hop a train and it takes them to the Kansas border, and then they split up.
Yeah, the safe, the technical juggernaut that is a safe is apparently fucking like McCurdy's, bad luck charm. Like
it's his albatross. It's his
he dreams at night of safes like dropping on his head. And he's like, no, not the Acme.
Save me, mother, save me.
You're not around. Oh.
In his dreams, he opens the safe and his mom's in it. I've been in the safe the whole time, I've been in the safe the whole time, Elmer. Unfortunately, like they get to the border, he goes to a friend's house and he stays in their hay shed, and he stays there for the next couple of weeks and he just drinks himself silly.
Yeah.
Goddamn safes. Goddamn it.
I hate safes.
I was a terrible person, and I'm even a terrible cowboy.
And that's when he comes up with the idea for his next target, a safe company.
So Richard, about a month later, so he's heavily intoxicated and decides, like, I'm going to give this another shot. McCurdy and 2 accomplices, so he's talked 2 other people into helping him out.
Okay.
They heard about a Katy train, so he's going back to trains. He's like, listen, train didn't work the first time. Bank didn't work the second time.
Fool me once with the safe, shame on you. Fool me twice with the safe, shame on me. I know where my bread and butter is. Trains.
So somehow they got word that there was going to be $400,000 in cash that was intended as a payment to the Osage Nation on this train.
Okay, how much now? 400?
400,000.
Holy shit. $400,000?
Yeah, this was in 1911, so over 100 years ago. So this had to be in the millions now. Maybe $2 million?
Easily. Like $400,000 in 1911 was probably... Because you got to think, like, this is right before the Depression. So, oh, God. Like, it was easily $1 million. This is, like, the big payday.
McCurdy's going to be... Yeah, he's going to make his day.
Yeah, right? And, like, it's on a train, and so he's like, I got this. Like, nobody's going to think that I'm going to rob... Nobody robs trains anymore. Like, I got this. But I'm thinking $400,000, like, that money is on a train that's surrounded by guards and in, like, a safe that's in a safe.
Well, Richard, unfortunately, as McCurdy and his men are watching this train track, again, maybe they got overzealous and jumped the gun. They stop the first train that comes by, or they stop a train that comes by.
Oh, no, it's the wrong train.
They walk on, and they're like, this is a robbery. We're taking the fucking Osage Nation money, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And you see a dude's like, tickets? This is a passenger train.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We were just headed to Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are welcome to go.
And then one guy stands up. I'm gonna be a country singer. Sit the fuck down,
Richard. These guys walk away from this train with $46, which they took from the mail clerk.
Oh my God!
2 things of whiskey.
Oh,
a revolver,
Jesus.
a coat, and the train conductor's watch.
Oh, dear Lord.
So McCurdy's like, this is his last stretch. He's like, listen, we're not fucking leaving this train with nothing. He's like, give me all your money. He's like,
yeah. You know what? Like, honestly, like, that's probably the smartest thing he could have done in that moment. He's like, you know what? I'm already here. I've got the handkerchief on my face. I got my gun out. Like, let's try and make a little money here. But the other guys that are with him are probably sitting there going, McCurdy, do you just have a thing about trains? He just turns to him. He's wearing a conductor's hat. Whatever do you mean?
Whatever do you mean? Choo choo. Yeah, and I imagine it's like he's got this hold up. So he's like, all right. And as they're about to leave, he's like, give me your fucking coat and your watch.
So far, let's see. So how many guys were with him for this robbery? Was it
just 2 other ones? So they get to split this up 3 ways.
Okay, so far over the course of his criminal career, split 3 ways. If we're going by his share, so far in his criminal career, his grand total has been what? Let's say he probably didn't get shit for the first one because they were probably like, fuck you. Like, you fucked this whole thing up. We're not giving you jack.
Well, and he got $50 from the second one and like $15 from this. So $65 on 3 robberies.
On 3 robberies that if he was caught for, probably would have gotten him shot. Like, he probably would have been killed had he been caught.
So, again, he basically just like goes into hiding, starts drinking a bunch, and he actually drinks with some ranch hands.
With what money?
Well, I mean, he had the 2 bottles of whiskey.
Okay.
And maybe that's what he used all the money for. But he did not know that because of his robberies, there was a reward out on his head, Richard.
Oh, my God.
A reward for $2,000. So this guy, like, probably got $60 from his 3 robberies.
Right.
And there's a $2,000 bounty on his head.
$2,000 bounty. This is the part where if I'm McCurdy, I'm worried about the other 2 guys I did the robbery with. Because they're like, we could still clean up on this robbery.
Just
how do you mean? Just turn him McCurdy. We turned him McCurdy, and we've made 10 times what we've made 3 times what we've made in the last 3 robberies.
So again, like, he's drinking with these guys, and I think somehow like word gets out where he's at. So a posse of 3 sheriffs come.
Right.
So we know he's got like great luck, right?
Word gets out. What that means is the other 2 guys are like, hey, I know where McCurdy is.
So apparently, and I kind of wonder if like nobody liked this guy, because it seems, I guess, let me just read this little bit, because this is a quote from, I guess, the event, one of the sheriffs. So
one of the sheriffs,
yeah,
okay.
So it began just about 7 o'clock. This is them coming up on McCurdy in the hay shed.
All right.
So it began just about 7 o'clock. We were standing around waiting for him to come out when the first shot was fired at me. It missed me, and he then turned his attention to my brother, Stinger Fenton. He shot 3 times at Stringer, and when my brother got under cover, he turned his attention to Dick Wallace. He kept shooting on. He kept shooting at all of us for about an hour. So they're like sitting out there. He's like, bang, bang,
bang, bang, bang, bang, bang, bang, bang.
You guys are fucking safes, aren't you? That's why I can't hit you.
Who taught you how to shoot, your mother? No.
Oh. So we fired back every time we could. We do not know who killed him. On the trail, we found one of the jugs of whiskey which was taken from the train. It was about empty. He was pretty drunk when we rode up to the ranch last night. So they don't know who shot him.
But somebody shot him, and he's dead.
Well, what's funny is the last piece of this we talked about says McCurdy was killed by a single gunshot wound to the chest, which he sustained while laying down. So it sounds more like they rode up on him when he was passed out drunk.
And then he shot him, like he shot himself on accident.
Like he was shooting at him, and then probably just passed out drunk. And they walk up on him, and he's just like drunk, mumbling like, "Oh, you fucking! I can't open the safe. I can't open the safe.
My mom's in the safe."
What's the warrant say? Does it say dead or alive? Yeah, it says dead or alive. Bang!
If anybody asks, he shot himself.
So Richard, like he had, like that's a kind of an interesting life, right? Like sad. Like you don't want to be this kind of criminal.
Very sad. I mean, it's like a comedy of errors. I mean, it's one of those things that it's so sad it's funny, which is that's our bread and butter.
So what would you hope after this? Like, okay, you died. They're going to take that picture of you as the in your coffin or whatever, and then you're going to get buried, and history will forget about you, right? Like they'll forget the fact that you fucked up 3 times.
Right. That's what I would think. Like over the course of time, you will have been forgotten because, and all in all, you're no Billy the Kid, you're no Butch Cassidy, so there isn't really shit that you. Nothing that of any big merit, so I would think, yeah, you were just kind of a footnote in the pages of 1911. But I'm guessing since you're telling me this story, I'm guessing that that's not what happened.
Nope. So if they would have just buried him, like we probably wouldn't even know of Mr. McCurdy.
Right.
His body was taken to Johnson Funeral Home in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, where it went unclaimed because Richard, he had no mother or father or family.
My God.
So Joseph L. Johnson, the owner and undertaker, embalmed the body with an arsenic-based preservation, which was typically used in that area.
And then blew him up.
Basically propped him up. He shaved his face, dressed him in a suit, and put him in the back of the funeral home. He laid unclaimed, and he refused to bury or release the body because he wasn't paid for the services he did. This is Johnson. So he's like, well, fuck that. Like, I'm not giving this back to the government. Like, he's going to stay up here in my corner.
Yeah, fuck that. Meanwhile, the guy, like the 2 guys that did the robbery claimed the reward, and the sheriffs are getting drunk off the other bottle of whiskey that he didn't have a chance to get to.
So he's got to make some of that cash money, right? Johnson does, because he's putting
right.
all this money to prop this guy up. And this is probably about the time where you had like the Wild West shows, like Buffalo Bill and what's the chick that was a great shooter?
Annie Oakley.
Yeah, Annie Oakley. So, and you had like Sitting Bull. Was it Sitting Bull that went on some of those too?
Oh, fuck if I remember. Well, I mean, I remember like I've been there. I have no idea.
But I mean, he knows like, oh wow, like a lot of people are coming out and like paying to see stuff from the Wild West.
Oh my God. Is this going to be like Weekend at Bernie's where they just kind of like...
Oh, it is.
Oh, are you fucking serious? No. They're like prop him up. It was like, I'm McCurdy. I'm the worst robber in the history of the world.
Give me some nitroglycerin. I'll try to blow up this stage.
Oh, golly willikers.
So Johnson starts charging people a nickel to come in and see the man of many aliases, the Oklahoma outlaw, the Embalmed Bandit.
He's the Embalmed Bandit.
Mm-hmm. This became the most popular attraction at his funeral home. So basically what happened is people come in to see their nan off, because she passed away. And he's like, hey, for a nickel, you can go see the Oklahoma Bandit.
So, so somebody's like, wait a minute, let me see if I understand this correctly. I give you a nickel and then I get to go stare at a dead body. And then he's like, yeah, pretty much. He's like, well, I mean, I guess it's this or.
Well, the guy turns around, it's like, I'm not interested. Like, wait. But he's holding a rifle. Fucking take my money. Take all my nickels.
Right? Because for them, it's like, well, it's either this or I stare at a horse's ass again.
Last time things got weird in my special place.
I say horse's ass, but it's 1911. It's either this or I stare at the back bumper of a Model T.
If I stand behind it too long, I kind of get lightheaded. A man by the name of Aver contacted Johnson, claiming to be Elmer McCurdy's long-lost brother from California.
And then the Undertaker's like, $55.
Aver had already contacted trying to get permission to get custody of the body so he could bury it in San Francisco. Later that day, he showed up, and another man was calling himself Wayne, who also claimed to be McCurdy's brother. So there's people that know there's some money in this.
Oh, so now since the Undertaker's probably made like a little bit of scratch off charging people by a nickel, now people are showing up and being like, actually, he's mine. I'll take him and I'll bury him. I promise. And that's how McCurdy went on the road.
It goes kind of a long way. So he was shipped to Arkansas City, Kansas. The man who claimed to be his lost brother was, in fact, James and Charles Patterson. And they were the owner of the Great Patterson Carnival shows, a traveling carnival. So yeah, McCurdy does go on the road.
Oh, Jesus.
They had the Embalmed Bandit exhibit.
How does does this body look at this point? Like, I would think that this body is not in any sort of condition to be seen at this point. Like, embalmed or not.
It's probably starting to look a little rank, but I mean, it's that thing is like, it's a bandit. It's an actual cowboy bandit. I got to see this.
Oh, Jesus. And they charge 10 cents.
Oh, yeah. Location. So they featured him in the traveling carnival, and they called him the outlaw let's see, they called it the outlaw who would never be captured alive.
Because he accidentally shot himself.
Yeah. He was there until 1922, and then his body was sold to Louis Sony. And Louis Sony used McCurdy's corpse.
His body is still in quote-unquote circulation, and it's been 11 years?
Yes, it's 1922.
How the fuck do you think this body looks now?
Not good. It goes on a little bit longer. So,
oh my God.
The Sony gentleman has what he calls the traveling museum of crime, where he doesn't have bodies of these people, but he has wax figures of Bill Doolin and Jesse James.
You know, real criminals.
So this was part of the official sideshow of the Trans-America Foot Race. Let's see, this was up till 1933.
1933, 22 years.
Yeah, the body changes hands again, Richard. So this time it was acquired by a director by the name of Dwayne Esperst.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yep, so he wanted to use it to promote his exploitation film, Narcotic. The corpse was placed in the lobby of theaters as a dead dope fiend. So he's not even using it as the cowboy anymore. It's like, this dude died of drugs.
He's a prop. He's a movie prop.
Yeah, this Esper was like a big dope fiend, I think, because apparently he died.
Now he's the cardboard cutout display you see at movie theaters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We want to make the movie seem scary. I don't know, throw a body out there.
Oh man.
Okay.
So it gets real bad. So I guess McCurdy's body, since it was mummified, had actually shrunk to the size of a child's body.
Yeah, because it's been out and about in the open air for 20 years.
I just don't understand, like, oh, man. So somehow Sony gets back of the body, and he dies in 1949. So the corpse is placed in storage in a Los Angeles warehouse. It's just put in storage.
Okay, 1949, now it's in a warehouse. So by this point, the body, like, we're not talking about a body anymore. We're talking about a very large piece of beef jerky at this point. That's what we're talking about.
And the thing is people probably look at that and they're like, well, that's not a body. That's like a wax figure.
Yeah.
So in 64, Sony's son.
60? What?
Yeah.
64?
Yeah. So Sony dies in 49. And the corpse is placed in storage. So in 1964, Sony's son, Dan, lends the corpse to filmmaker David F. Friedman, and it made a brief appearance in Friedman's 1967 film, She Freak.
Wow.
He shows up in a movie. Dan Sony sold the body along with other wax figures for $10,000 to the owner of the Hollywood Wax Museum. So apparently they're thinking this is probably a wax figure.
Yeah, at this point, they're probably like, oh, yeah, because it's been so like,
Eventually, the guy who bought McCurdy sold him back because it looked too gruesome and not lifelike enough to exhibit. So yeah, this doesn't look like a body at all.
Where's the parent bodies? So that way we have something to compare it to. It didn't come with parent bodies. And then there's just a little tear that rolls down this mummy's cheek.
So again, the body's sold to the owner of the Pike and Amusement Zone in Long Beach, California, and the corpse was hanging in the Laugh in the Dark Funhouse.
Oh,
so if you visited Laugh in the Dark Funhouse in 1976, there is a real body hanging over here.
Yeah. Oh my God. And nobody knew. You know why? Because this is what happens when you keep a body out of the ground for 40 years.
And this all ties like. Oh, this is so creepy. So this all ties around to people, I think, thinking that this isn't a real human body. Because now we're talking about the rediscovery of this.
God, and so people are probably like picking it up and like moving it around and like, Oh, look at me. I'm a little wax figure. Oh, the arm fell off. We'll just glue it back on. Do.
So McCurdy, a man who had so much trouble like getting money, in December 8th of 1976, during the production of The $6 Million Man, Richard.
with fucking Lee Majors.
Yeah. They were filming at the Pike, and one of the prop guys accidentally bumped what they thought was a wax museum, and the arm broke off. And as they're looking at that, they're like, wait a minute, that's actual human bone and muscle. So they call the police.
Oh, fuck.
As they're going through it, they conduct an autopsy, and they say that it was a human male who died of a gunshot wound to the chest. But the body was completely petrified, was covered in wax. It weighed approximately 50 pounds at this point.
Ugh. God, would like imagine you're the prop guy that's like handling this shit, and then somebody's like, "Hey, you know that one thing that you threw in the movie theater? Remember the arm fell off and you glued it back on? Oh yeah, thank God you. I'm so glad you didn't tell anybody about that. Yeah, about that. So turns out, it's a person. You dropped a person.
Well, I think about all the craziness that ensues from that is they do an autopsy, like, oh my God, this is a murder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have to go through all that stuff. But, I mean...
Who shot this man? Was it you? I wasn't even born yet.
Well, they're probably like, who shot this child? This child was murdered. No, I think it was actually, it's a 60-year-old corpse. It was actually an adult. But his story kind of comes to an end on April 22nd, 1977. So 66 years.
Yeah, a month before the release of Star Wars. That's how I measure time.
There's a tie there. He lost his arm, and Luke loses an arm.
Yeah, but that's not until the next movie.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's where they got it because they already shot that.
No,
movie.
see, no. What are you doing? You don't fuck with the timeline. So I'm just saying.
So they have a funeral for him, and they bury him in Summit View Cemetery in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Apparently 300 people showed up to see him buried. So more people showed up than the money he actually made as an outlaw.
Wow.
And to ensure that McCurdy will get to stay in one place, because this dude traveled a lot after his death.
Yeah.
So to ensure that his body wouldn't be stolen, they poured 2 feet of concrete around his casket to ensure that McCurdy was going to finally be able to rest in one spot and not be on display for others to enjoy.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. The fact that a human body got passed around like it was a fucking marijuana joint for 60 years.
But you know what to tie it around, Richard? As a child, McCurdy was not wanted. But after his death, everybody wanted to see him.
Everybody wanted to see him. And then he made more money when he was dead than when he was alive.
Yeah, but I'd like to think that he was, he at least felt some love that people wanted to be around him.
I don't think that happened. I think he's probably like, where the fuck were all you people 60 years ago?
If I would have had you around for moral support, I wouldn't have tried to rob trains. I could have been a conductor.
I would have stayed in the army, gone to Europe, and died a war hero. But instead, I decided to rob trains. You know why? Puts a hat on, because I like trains.
Well, Richard, I mean, this guy traveled a lot. So would you like to try and to bring us home here with some housekeeping? Or I'm sorry, with some Richard's closing thoughts?
Okay, so to wrap this up, I would say that McCurdy was a man that was constantly searching for love and acceptance and the perfect way to crack open a safe. And, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So I guess that's the only way I can think to wrap this up.
All right, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbrones.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbrones.com. Check out the LOB Army intelligence reports. Like us on Facebook. Go out and recruit some people for the LOB Army by getting someone you know to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. And what do you want to do? If you want to help us out, leave us a review on iTunes and Stitcher. That stuff helps get exposure to so many new people. If you do that, Richard, they won't have to put our bodies on display. We can stop putting our bodies on display now.
I think if they put my body on display, it would be like, come, pay a nickel, see the saddest man that ever lived.
Hey, I've got a podcast.
That's just a voice box with a button that you push next to my mummified corpse. Hey, I got a podcast.
And make sure where you can always check us out as well on the Pod Bros Network.
Because it's the best podcast site on the internet, and we'll all be mummified together in a tomb of our own tears.
And if you want to help throw a little bit of money in our tip jar, go to our Patreon accounts, www.patreon.com/languageofbromance. Throw a nickel in there and you can hear us talk.
Hey, I got a podcast.
All right, well, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, let's put an end to the sad, tragic tale.
All right, well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the nitroglycerin beaver.
And then you put too much in it, and then the beaver explodes, and then there's melted beaver. And then what you want to do, Shawn? You want to make beaver rolls. And then I step on them, and they're way too hot.